folks are pretty good at self-criticism. Like, man, I'm good at this. If there was an award in self-criticism, I would get it. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm championing for that, too. Nice. So here's my picture about that. We'll get to that later. Don't worry if you can't read it. It's okay. Then, because my self-critic is criticizing my drawing right now. So if something is going poorly, anybody feel like, if I'm hard on myself about this, I will do better? Yes? Occasionally. Yeah. And there are any, familiar societal mirrors, say, maybe, hopefully not, instructors, or advisors, or parents, who also reflect that message to us sometimes. It's usually from a place of love and folks wanting us to do better, but if I'm going to be hard on you, you're going to change, right? So that comes. Or, here's the flip side, if I'm easy on myself, nothing's going to change. I'm going to turn into a bowl of soft butter, and there's no way I'm going to get this degree. There's no way I'm going to get this presentation done. Any of that. If I'm easy on myself, nothing happens. Anybody have that? A little bit. Okay. All right. So what we know, research in the field, here it is what happens with criticism, and actually I'm going to pause before I go there, to help us all stay engaged at 3 o'clock. I'd like everybody to internally, and I won't know if you're doing this or not, but it's the internal honor system. Choose, anybody have a current challenge that you're dealing with right now? Any kind of challenge at all? Okay, we're humans, yes. Anybody have an area in your life where you could maybe use a little bit of kindness? Maybe it's a habit that you're trying to change? Okay. Anytime, and this is a big one, anytime I bring up diet and exercise, anybody have areas where they could be kinder to themselves about that? Or study habits? How about areas of interpersonal relating or relationships? Anybody's relationships all perfect and pristine and beautiful and there's no conflict? And then check your pulse. Right? So maybe choose an issue right now to help you engage the rest of the time that it's not what they call a big T, not a crazy big trauma, right? We're not working on the major childhood issues today. But it's a challenge. It's maybe a small T. It's something you would like a little more grace around, a little more internal peace around. And if you can't choose just one, maybe just try to narrow it down a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, which one? I have 7. I have 20. So take a moment and just kind of land on something. And then I'll look for that collective nod when I know you have it. Feel free to write things down. Most folks have a little something to work with. If you can't find something that you're accessing in yourself, maybe you have a dear one somewhere in your life who's really going through it. Right? And gosh, you wish that he or she would have this, could find some peace.
Could you speak a little louder?
Sure. Please feel free. Yeah, I drop into therapist voice.
Oh.
So yeah, let me know, and please, and let me know if I do drop in too loud again, especially when I'm leading those intimate self-exploration exercises. So I think, how do folks feel in terms of heat? If we keep this, let's keep it open for flow. Thank you. But yes, I will do my best to enunciate. Feel free to do this if you can't hear me. Is that cool? Thank you. Yeah. All right, so everybody's working with something, or something on behalf of a loved one that, man, I wish you could let go of this because I love you and I see you struggling. Something like that. Okay. So now that we have a tool to work with, the critic. Here's a research. We know it's kind of common knowledge that self-criticism probably doesn't get us very far, but there's fun research that tells us why, or tells us exactly what happens. So when we start to criticize ourselves, and if you want any evidence, what do you say when you first look at yourself in the mirror in the morning? Is it really kind and loving and you're championing the inner joy and truth of your being when you look at yourself in the morning? Anybody do that? This is a context where you could own that really proudly too, by the way. Right? I don't do that. We notice flaws, right? And then, so these critical thoughts do what Kristen Neff calls, they put us in the space of being both the attacker and the attacked, right? They send us and our entire nervous and limbic and endocrine systems into fight, flight, freeze mode. Who's familiar with the fight, flight, freeze response? Okay. And here's my fun poll. When you get confronted with conflict, challenge, fear, who are my fleers? Who runs? I'm out of here. Peace out. I can't even handle it. Yeah. Or say next, get in an argument with your partner, spouse, best friend, roommate. I'm gone. I got to go think about this. Right. Who's a freezer? Yes. I don't know. I'm a freezer. Deer in headlights. Yeah. I cannot argue. I can come up with all kinds of things. 20 minutes later, I'm so good at it. Anybody a fighter? Do we have fighters? And I know some of you, and I know some of you are. So I love the fighters because I'm envious of them. Like, really? You think of something in the moment? That's awesome. We all have our strengths, right? But it sends us into this mode against ourselves. So we literally freeze our process toward change. So if we're trying to study better, if we're trying to find a better way of relating with our family, or to do better at work, whatever that goal is, we actually are decreasing our motivation, we're decreasing our progress, and then we're increasing a couple things too. Our rumination, which is just our fancy psych speak for the monkey mind thoughts. And if you ever want to test your rumination, anybody lay down at night and you're able to go right to sleep on your pillow? If you are, let me know what you're doing. Or share it with us. Yeah, and it could be anything, right? But it becomes less and less helpful and useful the later it gets, too. But we increase that rumination. We also increase procrastination. Any really good procrastinators in here? Yeah. I will, my dear poor husband, he gets exampled a lot in my presentations. He's really good at procrastinating. Could get an award at it right now. And in a very intense grad program, he's having to find all these new ways and tools to, take away the procrastination award. Right? So we get into that smaller self where we literally access less of our prefrontal cortex. I learned this in Stan Clark's stress management presentation last week. We literally get tunnel vision. Our peripheral vision shuts down, literally. So all our problem solving, all of our ways that we can access new, creative, loving ideas in space that we usually need the most in these moments, that all goes toast. Because our bodies and brains have entered literally survival